Let's talk about one of the most fascinating, and for a long time, most mysterious parts of your brain. It's a true master multitasker that has had scientists scratching their heads for decades. Today, we're going to solve the puzzle of the PPC.
Okay, just think about this for a second. You see a cup of coffee sitting on your desk, and in less than a heartbeat, your brain figures out exactly where it is, where your hand is, and then choreographs this perfect, smooth movement to grab it. How does that happen? How does your brain so flawlessly turn the simple act of seeing into the complex act of doing?
Well, the answer, it turns out, lies in a special part of the brain that's like a grand central station for everything we sense and every move we make. And this is it, the posterior parietal cortex, or the PPC for short. Now, this diagram might look a little intense, but the key thing to see is where the PPC is positioned. It's this critical hub right in the middle of everything, connecting what we sense with how we move. But for the longest time, what its main job actually was, that was a genuine scientific mystery.
And when I say decades, I really mean it. This wasn't some minor disagreement. Researchers were locked in this huge debate trying to pin down the PPC's true purpose, mostly because it just seemed to be doing so many things at once.
This whole scientific puzzle really boiled down to two major competing clues. Both of them seemed to be correct on some level, but they just didn't seem to fit together.
So on one side, you had the sensory view. This camp argued that the PPC is all about perception. It's a hub that pulls together everything we see, hear, and feel, helping us pay attention to the world around us. But on the other side, you had the motor view. And these folks said no, the PPC is an action planner. It has all these specific zones for planning out movements for your eyes, your hands, you name it.
So, which one's right? Is it all about sensing the world, or is it all about planning to act in it? The tension between these two views is what made the PPC such a puzzle for so long. But what if that was the wrong question all along?
And this is where things get really cool. This is the breakthrough idea, a new unifying theory that just brilliantly solves this whole debate.
The key concept is something called state estimation. And it sounds technical, but the idea is actually pretty intuitive. It's just the brain's ongoing real-time calculation of where your body is and how it's configured, all in relation to the stuff around you, so it can figure out the best possible next move.
If we look at this diagram again, you can see how this new theory places the PPC right at the heart of this powerful loop. See, it's not just passively taking in sensory information, it's also getting a copy of the motor commands your brain is about to send out, so it can compare what it expects to happen with what's actually happening to create this super accurate live estimate of your body's state.
And that's the aha moment. State estimation isn't some third new idea. It's the missing link. It shows that to do its job, the PPC has to be both a sensory hub and an action planner. You need both sensory input and motor plans to get a good estimate of the world. Suddenly, those two old competing clues just snap together perfectly.
Okay, so if the PPC's main gig is state estimation, how does it actually pull it off? Well, it turns out it has two specialized departments that are working on the same problem, but from two totally different perspectives.
This image shows the layout perfectly. The PPC isn't just one big, uniform block of tissue. It's organized along a gradient. So, up near the front of the brain, what we call the rostral end, it's super focused on the body. And then as you move toward the back, the caudal end, it becomes more focused on the environment. Two different poles working together on one single job.
And this table just breaks it down so well. Think of the body pole as your car's dashboard. It's using senses like touch and proprioception, that's that internal feeling of where your limbs are, to give you a status report on your body. But then you have the environment pole, which is like your car's GPS. It uses your vision to map where your body is located out there in the world. And you absolutely need both to drive, just like your brain needs both of these poles to act effectively.
But here's the thing. As incredible as the PPC is, it's not working in a vacuum. It's actually part of a much bigger executive team in the brain. It's a star player in something called the Fronto parietal network. And you can basically think of this network as the brain's central command. It's central executive. It's the network in charge of all of our complex, goal-oriented behavior.
I absolutely love this analogy from the source material because it makes the whole thing click. The frontal cortex, that's the head chef. It's planning the menu, setting the long-term goals, directing the whole operation. The PPC, on the other hand, is the expert kitchen staff, managing all the ingredients on hand and executing those orders perfectly, right here, right now.
And you can see their workflow right here. First, the PPC, or kitchen staff, gives that critical real-time state estimate. Okay, here's where our hand is, and here's where that coffee cup is. Then, the frontal cortex, our head chef, takes that report and makes the executive call. All right, let's grab the cup. It's this beautiful, constant back-and-forth partnership.
So what's the big deal? Why does this new understanding of the PPC really matter? Well, it fundamentally changes how we think about the very connection between our minds and the world.
Here's the most important takeaway. This old idea that there's a clean line separating perception from action, that you first see the world and then you decide to act in it, is just plain wrong. That's not how the brain works at all.
In the elegant words of the researchers themselves, perception and action are ultimately two sides of the same coin. You just can't have one without the other. To perceive something is already to be preparing for an action, and to act is to instantly change what you perceive.
And what's really wild is just how recent all of this is. We're not talking about some discovery from 50 years ago. This landmark paper that put all the pieces together was published in 2019. This is the absolute cutting edge of neuroscience.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating, almost philosophical question to chew on. If seeing and doing are so tightly wound together, if they really are just two sides of the same coin, then where does a thought to do something actually begin? Is it in the seeing or is it in the doing? Something to think about.